Hello and welcome to the Honey-Do List, Painting Like a Pro Part 2. Earlier in our video we were talking about how to cut in around the raised trim and around the chair molding and the crown molding at the top. And I briefly hit on how to use a roller. We were always taught to paint in a W shape. If you go to your local home improvement stores and go through one of their painting demonstrations, they show you to paint in a W, and you keep doing that over and over until the wall is covered. Being an ex-paint company owner, I had learned a trick, and I ended up teaching all my employees how to do this. And we find that if you look right here, we did that trick right here, and in a matter of seconds I was able to put 2 coats of paint on this wall, and the time that it would have normally took somebody to paint that wall 1 coat. And I'm going to show you that trick now. There is a few things that you might want to remember. Always keep your paint roller with plenty of paint on there. Not too much, but not enough where you hear like this sound of it, almost like Velcro being pulled apart. That's what that is you're actually pulling the paint back off the wall. So I'm going to show you a couple of demonstrations. I'm going to show you the way that they tell you to do it. And then I'm going to show you what it sounds like to have a dry roller rolling against the wall. And then I'm going to show you the proper way, or the way that I feel would be the fastest for a homeowner to get a good quality double layer paint job in a single amount of time. First one is, this is the way that they always teach you. They say, go like this, and you keep covering the wall like this. Okay, you see all the holidays, the thin spots? And the ideal of it is you'll keep going back and back and back and back and over the wall thousands of times before this wall is done. Okay, the other thing is, if you notice this sound, that very pulled sound, that's actually me pulling the paint back up off the wall with this dry roller that I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to move down a little bit, and I'm going to go to this wall that we cut in earlier in the video, the first video, and then I'm going to show you the way that we've always done it, and we believe that it would be a faster way for someone to paint a house with a better quality of paint coverage on the wall. So what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to get my paint roller wet, and I know that y'all hear it in the background a lot. I do have a 4-year-old son that is my little buddy, and that he does like to come with me and do stuff on the videos, and he does talk a lot in the background. But this is the premise of it. What we're going to do is we're going to start, you're going to start halfway up and down the wall, which would be about right here, and you go up and back down. Okay, you see that's a good amount of paint. You don't hear that Velcro sound. Okay, we got a little bit right there overlap, so we're going to get that cleaned up. Okay, and what that is that's 1 coat. And then when I said earlier, I said what we're going to do is that we're going to overlap by 50%. Let me get some of that paint off the roller. We're going to overlap by 50%. So what we're going to do is, here's 1 roller, 50% of that roller. We're going to put it here. We're going to go all the way up. We're all the way back down. Okay, we're going to do that a couple times. And what it ends up doing is, then you're going to come back over and go back over the first one. And what that does is, now I done put 2 coats of paint right here on this wall. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do it again. Get a little paint on there. And then you're going to do it again. You're going to overlap by 50%. You're going to go up. You're going to go down. And what you want to do is try to get a little bit close to the bottom. But I'm going to show you how we fix that in a second. Okay. So you start in the middle. You go down. Then you go all the way back up. And you can see that I got a good amount of paint on this wall right now. And what you're doing is you're just trying to get the paint on the wall. So now what I'm going to do is, now that I've already got everything done, I'm going to come back up. I'm going to tie everything in. I'm just going to continue rolling up, down, like this, And as you can see, that is a good amount of paint. Now down here at the bottom, because I've already cut in this trim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my roller sideways, and I'm going to try to get as close to that trim. Now don't worry, I'll purposely hit it right here to show you. If you do hit the trim, best thing to have is a wet rag. You wipe it clean with a rag. And what that does is it always keeps your trim nice and clean. As you can see, here's what I did from them. You can see the holidays, the weak spots in there, and then look at mine. You can literally see that mine's more has more coverage on it, plus my paint is thicker on this side of the wall versus this side of the wall. I mean, to do it our way, you go like this, up, down. All right. From here to there, you can see that there's a difference in the thickness of the paint. You want to keep doing it this way because by the time that I roll out this whole wall right here, I've got 2 coats of paint. I do not have to wait for this paint to dry and then to come back and put another layer on there. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, here's the handy dandy little paint cup. We've washed this brush out and we've switched it over to white now, and I'm going to show you some little tricks on painting the trim. I'm going to get on this side because I am right-handed. I'm going to get down here, and one thing that a lot of people ask, you don't put down paper. Well, if you're not spreading a ton of paint around and you don't have an overloaded brush, when you paint the trim, what you want to do is you want to kind of just go down the center of it first. You want to get some paint on the wall. Same thing when we were cutting in the edge. Remember, I put a line right here, and then I kind of moved that paint down. Okay, well, we're going to do pretty much the same thing here. What we're going to do is, now we're going to push our brush. If you can see that a good trained brush will make somewhat of a straight line. So what we're going to do is put it up here on the top, and we're going to pull just a couple bristles right across the top until it comes right up close to the gray. Now, I know these colors are probably not the easiest to be demonstrating with because they are 2 neutral colors, white and gray. But this was the color that this house is being painted in, white and gray. And you know, you'll know when you start running low on paint because your bristles will start spreading apart. You want to have that nice line, roll it up here on the top, and just drag it slowly. You're not in a hurry when you're cutting in. That's the slowest part of painting any room, is to cut in. And I mean, I do know painters that can paint super fast while they're cutting in, and they're really great doing it. For the average homeowner or somebody like myself, you know, that's just painting my own personal house, take your time. And there's nothing wrong with taping it off with blues painters tape to the gray, but if you're going to do that, you need to leave time for your paint to cure, whichever one that you decide to put it on. If you paint the white first and then come back in and cut the gray, you'll need to let the white set up for, you know, 1 to 3 days. Make sure that it's good and cured so the tape doesn't pull it off. Other than that, I hope that these helpful tricks have been, you know, helpful to you in your painting your house. One thing I would like to say is please hit the subscribe button, like, and comment. Every comment that you put on there, I will try to answer. And until next time, let's tackle those honey-do lists.